Hey guys, Noel here, and it is super cold and super late, but I thought I would do a new version of one of my most popular videos on the YouTube channel. I was trying to edit it, and I wasn't able to edit it, so I thought it would be fun just basically to do a newer version of the video that's hopefully even better than the video in question. And that video is my video where I basically talk about Gohan from Dragon Ball Z and the kind of incoherence of him being, like a Super Saiyan in later chapters of Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball GT, when in the Buu Saga, he basically transcends the level of Super Saiyan. So, if you've been watching this video so far, you'll already tell that this is going to be one of the nerdiest, most esoteric kind of fanboy videos that you'll find on the internet. So either hit the X button or sit back and enjoy, because I'm going to be rambling about some obscure stuff that fans of Dragon Ball Z will know, but maybe other people will just get kind of perplexed by. So regardless, let's get rolling. So I'm just going to assume that if you're watching this video, you know the history of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. So real quick, Akira Toriyama, the Japanese comic book artist, starts a kind of comic book version of the Chinese Legend of the Journey West in 1984. He calls it Dragon Ball. The main character of his comic is Son Goku, who is also a core character in the Journey West, except in the Journey West, Son Goku is a monkey, and in Akira Toriyama's Dragon Ball comic book, it's a boy with a monkey tail, and as the series progresses, it just becomes evidently more and more influenced by the creator's love of Jackie Chan movies, and it basically turns into a martial arts manga. And then in the late 80s, early 90s, it turns into a science fiction martial arts manga, and that gets called, in the animated version of the comic book, Dragon Ball Z. And in the start of Dragon Ball Z, the Son Goku is basically grown up. He has a kid named Gohan, and then there's this recurring theme that Gohan is got this amazing potential, and he's going to surpass his father Goku. And this actually comes to fruition in probably the most science fiction-y cyberpunk thing that you'll find in Dragon Ball Z, and that's the Androids in Cell arc, where basically the son of Goku's rival travels back in time to warn all of the characters that they're going to get killed by these androids. And the ultimate android is this bio-android Cell that eats these other androids and becomes like the perfect fighter, who has the DNA of not only the androids that he absorbed, but also through like robot mosquitoes that were created by the kind of insane head of what's known as the Red Ribbon Army, which Goku destroyed really early on in Dragon Ball. It gets all the main characters' DNA and creates this kind of ultimate biological android, and Goku can't beat it, but who can beat it is his son Gohan. And there's also within Dragon Ball Z this kind of funny, and I think maybe it's probably like unintentionally Nietzschean, but there's this trope of like the Super Saiyan, right? So you know how like Nietzsche would have the Superman or the Overman, this is what Hitler fantasized about, right? But the person who would kind of transcend his level of humanity to something more. So for postmodern philosophers, that's kind of rising above the so-called morality to a new level of the so-called morality of your time to a new realization of, basically just understanding everything's about willing your power into a new standard. But in Dragon Ball, and Nietzsche would go on about like the blonde Superman or something like that. In Dragon Ball Z, there is like the blonde Super Saiyan, But I read an article, I read an interview with Akira Toriyama where he was basically saying that he just made the Super Saiyans blonde because he didn't feel like coloring black hair. I think that's correct. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think he wanted something kind of more basic looking and easier to draw. So he ended up getting like the super form, having like spiky blonde hair, and it kind of merged with this Nietzschean trope. So anyway, Goku becomes a Super Saiyan, can't beat Cell, and his son also becomes a Super Saiyan, but goes above that level of Super Saiyan to become Super Saiyan 2 Gohan right here, and he beats Cell. And once Super Saiyan 2 Gohan beats Cell, you get a new arc, which gets even more. It goes from being like sci-fi to being like Power Rangers, and you can find it like right here. Gohan basically, Goku dies. Gohan becomes a teenager, becomes kind of like a Power Ranger crime fighter, and becomes the main character of the comic book. Here you see. Hang on a second. Kame Sennin or Master Roshi, basically verifying Gohan's role as the new main character. And as this arc progresses, it's called the Majin Buu arc, Gohan has to kind of train and recapture what he did to basically become Super Saiyan 2. Goku's dead. He comes back as basically kind of, it's a whole garbled, long-winded reason that I'm not going to go into why Goku comes back, but he basically has a day pass from the afterlife to basically visit the current world, and that happens to coincide with the resurrection of this kind of evil, monster that this wizard named Babidi created called Boo. Get it? There's a pun. It's like Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, right? So anyway, and Gohan has to train to beat Majin Buu, and so Goku comes back, right? And what we see here is like Super Saiyan 2 artist representation. And Goku in the afterlife was able to train so much that he was able to become Super Saiyan 3 right here, losing his eyebrows in the process, right? So, now, Super Saiyan 3 is almost as strong, or about as strong, as Majin Buu, which we can see right here in the middle of all the different Dragon Ball Z characters, right? Now, there comes a point in time in the comic book where Goku goes back to the afterlife because his time runs out. Gohan is seemingly defeated by Majin Buu, and Goku's youngest son, younger than Gohan, wait a second, darn it, I hate this, Goten, and his rival son, Trunks, learn to fuse together to become, basically, these two characters find a way to temporarily combine their powers and fuse into a single character named Gotenks. This was apparently come up with by the mangaka who wrote Video Girl I, which is actually a really cool 80s manga, late 80s, early 90s manga. So anyway, you can enjoy this artist representation of Gotenks right here. And Gotenks is about as strong as Majin Buu because he can become, let's see if I can find the picture here. Yes, Super Saiyan 3 right here. Now, eventually, Gohan completes his training. I think I've got this all here. And yes, Gohan ends up having to do some training in the afterlife. He doesn't quite die, but the equivalent Dragon Ball universe's equivalent of God kind of spirits him away so he can do some serious training, recapture his total potential, and he basically no longer needs to become a Super Saiyan. His natural form is more powerful than a Super Saiyan, and fans have dubbed this Gohan's Mystic Transformation right here. Now, Mystic Gohan is shown to be stronger than a level 3 Super Saiyan because, if you look here, Majin Buu is the big bad guy, and Gohan just beats the living hell out of him. so badly that Majin Buu like literally has to blow himself up in a kamikaze attack in a vain attempt to beat the good guys. So anyway, long story short is that Gohan in this like so-called mystic form or ultimate form or natural form really beats up Majin Buu, who is shown in earlier chapters to be as strong or stronger than a level 3 Super Saiyan. So, now there's a newer that they've just recently, about a couple of years ago, did Dragon Ball Z Battle of the Gods, which excited a lot of people. And, one second. Gohan is now back to being a Super Saiyan. Now, a lot of fans took note of this because Gohan was a Super Saiyan in Dragon Ball GT, the non-canonical. Well, it wasn't written by the author of the manga, and Gohan was. It didn't really. There were some kind of discontinuities between Dragon Ball GT and the actual manga because they weren't written. GT wasn't written by Akira Toriyama. And Gohan was a Super Saiyan in Dragon Ball GT, and so a lot of fans basically, chalked that up to, they were just, the TV studio was sloppy and didn't understand a major point in the comic book. Well, Dragon Ball Z Battle of the Gods, which is supposedly touted as being, kind of the script is being outlined and stuff by Akira Toriyama, Gohan, for whatever reason, is a Super Saiyan. So, a lot of people got really annoyed when they saw this picture. So, as it turns out, enough people complained, and they basically had Gohan not be a Super Saiyan for a good chunk of the movie, but then later on he turns into a Super Saiyan. So, the point is that there is a serious lack of consistency with basically the most important character of Dragon Ball Z outside of Goku. So the creators of the franchise really need to not have Gohan turn into a Super Saiyan. Now there's been debates that, there's maybe he can be Mystic Super Saiyan or something like that. No, because when he tried to turn into a Super Saiyan in this comic book, he doesn't turn into a Super Saiyan. His hair stays black. And he's stronger than a level 3 Super Saiyan. In these, newer movies, it's never acknowledged that Gohan is now somehow weaker than Goku and Vegeta, but he's portrayed as being weaker than Goku and Vegeta. And let's even say, for the sake of argument, that Gohan stopped training, as he does stop training in between the Cell Arc and Buu Arc. He basically becomes this nerdy high school student, as we can see right here. He's still a level 2 Super Saiyan, right? So a lack of training, as far as I can tell, within the Dragon Ball canon, does not mean that you drop plateaus of achievement. It just means you become rustier at what you do. So I don't get it. I don't understand why Gohan is just turned into a generic Super Saiyan character when really a huge thrust of the comic book was his transformation to both, Super Saiyan 2 and then in the Buu Saga, the Mystic Super Saiyan, the Mystic Saiyan Gohan. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this rant, and you all take care. So until next time, my name's Noel. I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.